Hey, my name is Stephen Tizzard. I am a grade 9 English language arts teacher and IRT instructional resource teacher at Holy Cross Junior High. I've been teaching for 6 years, and in 6 years, in some capacity, I've taught everything from kindergarten to grade 9 as a substitute or replacement teacher. Um, with regards to relationships of students and teachers and outside the classroom and how it may affect things that happen inside the classroom. I think it's really important that we have some sort of rapport with our students both in and out of the classroom, because they kind of work hand in hand. It's one thing supports the other. And a good way to do this is through extracurricular activities. And I know at my school I run a photography club after school on certain days, and several members of my photography club are actually in my English class, and it really does help me a lot with regards to knowing what their interests are, and knowing that helps me design my lessons according to what it is they're interested in. I know I do a lot. Like during photography club, we always listen to music, whatever it is we're doing or discussing or talking or editing. We're usually on a computer editing some video or something. We'd either be using music or listening to music, and I've gotten to know a lot of my students and their tastes in music, and I bring that into the classroom. And a lot of my poetry things we study in our poetry unit, we'll do a lot of songs. And where do you think the songs come from? They come from the student interest. Some of them are mine as well, but some of them are both of ours, and some are just the students. I've used rap, I've used all kinds of stuff. Not only that, I do a lot of extracurricular music in our school, like guitar club and all the concerts, and I do a lot of accompanying of the other students, whether it be on drums or guitar or something like that. But in my class, a big classroom management tool that I use, that I've come up with over the years, and students know me for it, is what students affectionately call a VOD, and that is a video of the day. So I'm a big YouTube fan, and what I like to do, is bring in a video every single day. If I have 2 periods of English one day, it'll just be one video, but it's always at the beginning of class. I never use it as a reward. And I find it really settles the kids. They come in, and of course, we're not there 30 seconds, and someone's asking for the VOD. They always remind me. I never forget, so I always have to have one prepared. And I usually put it up on my website, which has a page just for the VODs. And the video today could be something course related. It could be something completely out of the blue. It could be something I seen on Facebook that I thought was just incredible and really cool, and that I thought my students might like. I'd often play a music video of a band that a student, we had a discussion about in photography club or just outside the classroom, the hall during recess. Someone would say, sir, you might like this band. So of course, I'd look at the band and find some cool YouTube video or something, and I'd use that in the classroom, and I'd use it either as a study piece for poetry or use it as a VOD. The VODs are just so great on many levels. Some of them are a minute long. I played ones up to 5 minutes long, and it seems like, 5 minutes at the beginning of class seems a lot. In a 50-minute period, that's a whole 5 minutes. It seems like a lot, but essentially it's not, because it allows me to get things started in class and get them prepared and ready to work. If we're doing a poetry unit and kids have their poetry booklets and I have them all, and maybe I corrected something or something, I can put on the VOD, and I got 5 minutes. I can walk around the class. I can hand things out, any handouts I might have, or hand out their booklets. I might have to haul a couple of students aside at the beginning of class and speak to them about something. That chunk of time with other students focused allows me to do those kind of things. And then when the video is over, a lot of times, the lights be off, so kids are more relaxed, they're focused, and more often than not, it immediately creates a discussion too, as to what the video was about, and a lot of times it's geared towards what we're going to be talking about that day. So, or I can at least spin it so that it's geared towards something we were going to be talking about that day. So immediately the class begins and discussion begins and learning begins, and that transition is really important. And sometimes it's a rough go in classroom management, but that helps me out quite a bit, actually. I find these relationships too outside the classroom really help you to create a safer environment in your class. I know this year in my English course I had a girl who was transgendered, so she identified as a male, and maybe 3 months into the year, she was wanting everyone to call her by a male name. We'll just say it's Greg, because I don't really want to give her name, but say it was Greg. And, of course, these are different times in a society where all these kinds of things are happening, and some older teachers aren't sure how to deal with it. It is, and it can be awkward and uncomfortable, because it's all new territory that we've never, chartered in before. But I mean, I'm a fairly young teacher, and to me it was just no big deal. And Greg was actually in my photography club as well, and my English class. And I mean, I was one of the first teachers who actually started calling her Greg in an academic setting. In my class, I would call on him as Greg when he raised his hand. And I mean, that said a lot it sent a message to other students and to other teachers too. And I mean, I don't think that would have happened if Greg hadn't been in my photography club, because we had a great rapport because of that. We would spend time together in a small group of people to create a good relationship that was outside of the classroom, that kind of meant more, and then I was able to bring that into the class, and make it work, to make it positive for everybody. And it's a great experience. I learned a lot from him, and I hope he the same from me. So yeah, some of my ideas.